This is the Ohio AgNet from the Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Zetavo Soybeans. Transforming the approach to soybean seed decision-making with trailblazing innovation and quality without compromise. I'm Ty Higgins. Ritchie Brothers is having a large auction today. Visit rbauction.com for complete details. And the Local Connection Ag County Fair Tour continues next week with stops in Champaign County on Monday and Attica on Tuesday. Join us for the midday broadcasts as Local Connection Ag makes a check presentation to both junior fair boards. Two events next week you don't want to miss: a better look at the weekend forecast and more information about New World screwworm. This morning's news feed delivered by Eberts Field Seeds, proven local seed performance for Ohio farmers. It's time to start planting Eberts. Call 937-473-2521 or visit online at ebertsseeds.com. The Ohio Soybean Association is partnering with Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal for two stops during this year's annual Hometown Tour, where attendees will get an inside look at the 2026 Ohio Crop Tour findings and more. Brandon Kern is with the Ohio Soybean Association.
This is the fourth year that we'll be doing this tour. The concept is we want to take information that's valuable to soybean farmers out close to them. So instead of having an event maybe in Columbus where they have to travel in for updates and information, we're trying to get this out into their communities at various locations throughout the state. So these meetings usually consist of, information ranging from agronomic updates and breakthroughs to policy information to market, what's going on in the marketplace. So we're really excited about it, doing our fourth year of these in a row.
The first stop is next week on Tuesday in Crawford County. The second stop on Thursday in Fayette County. You can find out more and get registered online now at soyohio.org/hometown. That's soyohio.org/hometown. Let's check in with our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your checkoff dollars at work. Here's Dusty Sonnenberg.
Joining me today is Dr. Horacio Lopez Nicora, OSU Extension soybean pathologist and nematologist, talking about resistance issues and resources to find products available to fight disease.
We mentioned resistance. That's for sure the very easy one that we need to keep in mind, especially if we have been dealing with this group of pathogens for a while in our field. If we know we have Phytophthora or a Phytophthora population in our field, resistance should be the first line of protection, right? The other one is seed treatment. You use chemistry that is meant to target these organisms, like we mentioned, to try and manage them. So, we have the mefenoxam, metalaxyl, ethaboxams. There's new ones out there. We have the classical Apron, Excel, and new products out there that we commonly test and evaluate, and we're seeing really good results. To mention some without endorsing any, of course, but the ones that we have been evaluating: Apron Excel, Integos, Sweet, Lumicena, and then Viantis, like I mentioned. And these come combined sometimes with other fungicides. In many cases, we have other things out there other than Pythium and Phytophthora, right? So we want to get something that will take care of this group, but also take care of the other true fungi, such as Fusarium graminearum, that can also cause seedling issues, Rhizoc, that can also cause seedling issues, etc. The Crop Protection Network is a great source where we dump a lot of this information from our research trials. So we conduct seed treatments and foliar fungicide applications, and every winter we get together with soybean pathologists across the region, across the Midwest and other places of the U.S., and then we start looking at how well these products have been working for each of these different pathogens. And we create a fact sheet with a list of these active ingredients and commercial products that a grower can go and take a look at. What are the active ingredients that are going to work best? But moreover, what's the commercial product that actually contain these active ingredients that will take care of it? And that just makes things simple for a grower that is trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to apply? Yeah, very cool. You're telling me all these active ingredients independently are doing a great job, but what's the actual product that I need to put on my seed that have all these active ingredients that will take care of my situation?
Again, those are the comments of Dr. Horacio Lopez Nicora, OSU Extension soybean pathologist and nematologist, and that crop protection network he referenced is supported in part by the United Soybean Board and your soybean checkoff. And a reminder that this update is brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
Let's see what Ryan Martin has to say about the weather. Brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company.
Frontal boundary off to our west and north finally has made it here. Some action pushing into northwest Ohio overnight last night. But I'll be honest with you, this front falling apart a little bit as it initially tries to move in. I think that the better chances of rain are going to be trying to redevelop late this afternoon, evening on through tomorrow. But still, whether it comes right away here to start your Thursday or whether it holds off until later Friday, moisture is going to show up in Ohio over the next 2 to 2.5 days. I actually think clouds can linger through a large part of Saturday with some on-again, off-again scattered showers. Combined over the event period, anywhere from a quarter to 1 inch of rain. Coverage at about 90 to 95% of the Buckeye State. Behind it, we dry down for Sunday. Then next week, on-again, off-again pop-up showers and storms possible all week long. I'm Ryan Martin.
Ryan, thank you. Livestock producers being urged to stay alert following the detection of New World screwworm in Texas earlier this summer. Now more than 30 cases have been confirmed in livestock and pets in Texas and New Mexico. New World screwworm is a parasitic fly whose larvae feeds on living tissue, creating painful wounds in warm-blooded animals. Experts with Ohio State University stress that while the pest poses a serious animal health threat, it does not affect food safety, and animals can fully recover with prompt treatment. Producers should watch for animals that appear depressed, have wounds that continue to grow instead of heal, or have foul-smelling discharge or maggots present in the wound. Even small injuries from ear tags, castration, newborn navels, or tick bites can become infested. Find out what to do if New World screwworm is suspected with an article online now at ohioagnet.com. More of our crops are going to be used in the fuel industry. Find out more in today's featured audio after this as the Ohio AgNet continues.
Be aware, ticks are there. As you head outdoors, remember to avoid tall grass, wear light-colored full-coverage clothing, and use EPA-registered repellent. Be sure to thoroughly check for ticks after you head in for the day. If you find any ticks, remove them carefully with tweezers and watch for symptoms such as fever, headache, or rash. For more information on ticks and tick bite prevention, head over to ohio.gov/ticks.
The Ohio State Fair has more of the fair you love.
It's the best day together with more to do. Bring the whole crew for the classics you love, plus even more to explore, taste, and experience with brand new buildings, attractions, and more.
More of the fair you love. The Ohio State Fair, July 29th through August 9th, 2026.
Plan your day and get tickets at ohiostatefair.com.
The Environmental Protection Agency's new renewable fuel standard volumes are giving the bioindustry a significant boost. The agency raised biomass-based diesel obligations to level the industry says more accurately reflects production capacity. Clean Fuels Alliance America says the higher volumes are already helping idle plants restart, encouraging new investment and creating stronger demand throughout the agricultural economy. Paul Winters, Director of Public Affairs, explains.
So the volume that everyone agreed on was 5.25 billion gallons. That's the production volume that everyone settled on. Some people were higher, some people were lower, but we all sort of agreed on 5.25 as the minimum volume that could be produced. For the 2025 RFS volumes, EPA had set 3.35 billion gallons as the volume, and that had a pretty devastating effect on our industry. Combined with uncertainty over tax credits, essentially a lot of small producers were forced to idle production.
The new rule raises biomass-based diesel volumes to about 5.4 billion gallons. Winter says the impact is already being felt across the industry.
Particularly for smaller producers, they were a little more nimble in responding. We saw some idled plants come back into production. We saw other small producers just ramping up to the highest volume they could manage and run at full out. They've been doing so for several months now. So overall, the biodiesel industry is operating at 86% of capacity that is estimated to be operable. It's not the highest operating capacity we've ever achieved, but it's certainly up there where EPA envisioned it should be.
Beyond biodiesel production, Winter says the increased volumes are driving investment farther up the supply chain, creating new opportunities for soybean growers and processors.
I mean, the first impact you're seeing is in the soybean processing industry. The oilseed processors have invested more than $6 billion over the past 4 or 5 years to expand their capacity by a third. Oilseed processing industry for a long time had running capacity to crush about 2 billion bushels of soybeans every single year. The United States was up planting and harvesting more than 4 billion bushels of soybeans every year. And then there were disruptions in international markets. So this year, the oilseed processing industry in the United States is scheduled to process about 2.6 billion bushels. And it will even go higher next year, 2.75 billion bushels.
Those investments are also translating into jobs and renewed economic activity in rural communities.
We actually sent a letter to President Trump in mid-June highlighting several of those stories. We highlighted a plant in Iowa, in Wall Lake, Iowa, that had shut down in 2025 and had not laid off all of its employees, but was definitely reducing its workforce. That plant is up operating at full capacity now and is rehiring all those employees.
Winter says the benefits extend well beyond biodiesel plants, supporting businesses and industries throughout rural America.
It's not just the Midwest. The benefits are flowing through to other industries like railroads. They're opening up new markets and new avenues. These were things that EPA certainly was aware were possible as outflows from the higher volumes. They wrote these scenarios into the rule itself, said this is one of our goals, is to promote this type of economic activity. So we are definitely gathering all these stories. We're definitely sharing them with EPA to show that what they did with this year's rule is paying off in the ways that we all knew were possible.
Paul Winters is the Director of Public Affairs and Federal Communications with Clean Fuels Alliance America, speaking to the industry-wide advantage of the EPA's decision to increase renewable volume obligations. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
Thank you, Joe. Listen Friday as we broadcast from the State Fair thanks to Kalmbach Feeds, feeding you the results first. Back with a check of the markets and analysis after this on the Ohio AgNet.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
This has been a wild year to grow corn and soybeans in Ohio, but how are the crops shaping up? Find out with the 2026 Ohio Crop Tour, sponsored by Field Leader. Follow daily reports starting next week at ohioagnet.com as our scouts check corn and soybean fields across the state. Then join us at an Ohio Soybean Hometown Tour event to hear yield estimates and key observations firsthand. Learn more and RSVP at soyohio.org/hometown. That's soyohio.org/hometown. Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins, and today's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company in Upper Sandusky. Opening to receive soybeans starting September 1. Ohio farmers plan to get your RFID tag the week of August 24th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Find out more by calling 419-731-7100. Here's Ryan Martin.
Crude oil prices were down yesterday, at some points down over $1 a barrel following the U.S. Treasury Department's lifting of counterterrorism sanctions on 3 airlines with links to Iran's military. Crude inventories, including reserves on July 31st, totaled 711.8 million barrels, down another 400,000 versus the previous week. Another 2.9 million barrels were withdrawn from the strategic stockpile. Ethanol production this past week down 8 million barrels from the week prior. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. We are higher at last check in the grain trade, with corn for September up 1.5 at 438 1/4. December 461 1/4, up by 1 1/4, and corn for March of next 477 1/2, that's up by 1 3/4. Soybeans for August up by 1/4 penny at 11.51 3/4. September a cent to the good at 11.57 1/2, and new crop November 11.76, picking up 1 1/4. Wheat for September up 1 1/4 at 6.43 1/2. December 6.62 1/2, up by 1 1/4. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins reporting. We'll see you down the road.